Up next is Melody Griesdorf, who's also served in the same city that I work in, Perry, Iowa, which in our somewhat small and rarefied community, it's sometimes easier to measure the impact of a single person when you don't have as much diffusion of services and what we're actually doing in the town. Now, currently a resident of Ames, Melody earned her Associates of Arts from Cotty College and a Bachelor's of General Studies with a concentration in Sociology, Women's Studies, and Addictive Disorders and Recoveries. And that was from Texas Tech University. Now, prior to Public Allies, Melody moved around a lot and enjoyed working in helping positions, such as childcare, caregiving, wherever she went. Now, ready to put down roots in Iowa, Melody joined Public Allies, hoping to gain knowledge and experience and leadership in the world of nonprofits. In her words, "I've always known that I wanted to spend my life working with others, most likely children, and helping them learn, grow, and have the ability to help themselves succeed. I feel Public Allies Iowa is helping give me the tools to make that desire a reality." At her placement, Melody has also worked to create a data-driven intervention to increase student achievement. And again, as the other ally in Perry, and frequently meeting with our mayor and city administrators and so forth, we've heard nothing but great things, and she has had a dramatic impact on that small community. So without further ado, Melody Griesdorf.
Good morning. Good morning. I need you all to use your imagination with me for a moment, so picture the scene I'm about to describe. Picture a young woman. This young woman just started the Public Allies Iowa AmeriCorps program 12 days ago and is excited to start a 5-day in-person training. She looks through the training schedule as she waits for it to begin. Monday and Tuesday look good. It's full of team building and formal trainings about the program. Then she looks at Wednesday's schedule, and a word makes her stomach knot. Zip line. She has never been on a zip line. They seem like a really cool activity, but also completely and utterly terrifying. One of those things other adventurous people do, but not her. She silently hopes this is an optional activity. A few hours later, a man from the camp, Mike, as everyone has mentioned earlier, is explaining the week's activities, and it is made clear that it is the expectation for everyone to at least try all of the activities. She takes a deep breath and thinks, I can at least try. And then Mike says the words 4 stories high when talking about the zip line, and her stomach makes more elaborate knots. A short 48 hours later, and she is standing below the 40-foot tall zip line, heart racing and stomach again in knots. She has made a commitment to herself earlier in the week that she is going to do things that she would do if she wasn't afraid of them. She's not going to let fear stand in her way. She thinks about this self-commitment as she watches her friends, one by one, make it up the zip line, and she repeats a mantra to herself: be brave. Do what you would do if you were not afraid. So she puts on a harness and helmet with determination and stands at the foot of that zip line. She begins, with her heart pounding in her ears, she begins the climb. The 40-foot climb is even worse than she imagined. First, she has to climb a ladder. She hates ladders. Then, the ladder ends, and she's supposed to climb up this pole, reminiscent of a telephone pole, using only large staples as hands and footholds. She, again, is repeating the mantra: be brave. Do what you would do if you were not afraid, as her arms and legs shake as she slowly climbs the tower. About halfway up, she almost loses her nerve. She is shaking and trying not to hyperventilate. Her friends below her are cheering her on and telling her that she can do it. Be brave. Do what you would do if you were not afraid, she says to herself as she takes a deep breath and reaches up for the next staple to continue climbing. Amazingly, she eventually finds herself at the top of the pole and climbs onto a tiny platform with another camp staff member. Before this endeavor, she thought that climbing up would be the worst part, because she hates ladders. As she slowly turns around and is instructed to sit down on the platform, she realizes that she was wrong. A new level of terror grips her as she stands there 40 feet in the air, quivering, trying to convince her muscles to bend so she can sit. The process is agonizingly slow. Each inch toward the platform feels like it takes an eternity. When she finally feels the backs of her legs against the wooden platform, she breathes a heavy sigh of relief, but then realizes it's not over yet. She still has to push herself off the platform and fly through the air. The friendly camp staff member up on the platform with her says that she's happy to give the young woman a push off if that would help. The young woman politely declines, thinking that if she is going to drop 40 feet to her death, she is at least going to control the moment she begins the descent. She takes a deep breath and repeats her mantra once more. Be brave. Do what you would do if you were not afraid, and pushes herself off the platform. For a heart-stopping moment, she feels like she is dropping toward the earth. And then she feels the jerk of the zip line catching her, and she is flying through the air. The next 6 seconds are exhilarating. She can feel that she is safely held by the harness, so although her heart is racing, she no longer feels she is going to die. And she is able to enjoy the beauty of the experience for a brief moment. And she's glad she had the courage to see it through, even if she's not sure she would ever have the desire to do it again. As you have probably guessed, that young woman was me, and I have pictures to prove it. And here I am on that telephone-like pole, almost to that tiny platform. And there I am, flying through the air. Public Allies Iowa AmeriCorps has given me many opportunities to do what I would do if I wasn't afraid and to be brave. And I am here today to talk about how each of us can make sure that our fears do not stand in the way of our dreams and desires. That we find the courage to act, even when fear is staring us in the face. We're not trying to get rid of the fear, we're just trying to recognize it and then decide whether or not to act anyway. In my life, I found this breaks down into 5 fairly simple steps. The first step is being able to recognize what you are feeling. Being able to realize that you're afraid of something. This may sound simple and obvious, but sometimes we do our best to convince ourselves that fear has nothing to do with the reason we're avoiding something. I might say, I just don't like sports. When if I really look at my reasons for not jumping in the pickup volleyball game, I see that I'm afraid of a few specific things. Which brings us to our second step. Identify the specific fears. What are you afraid of? For me with sports, I know that I'm afraid of failing, making a fool of myself, and being judged by others. Maybe your fear is like me on the zip line and you're afraid you're going to die. Maybe it's a rational fear. Maybe it's irrational. Regardless, it's important to identify the things that are trying to hold you back. The third step is to remember your values and weigh those against your fears. Ambrose Redmoon said that courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the realization that something is more important than your fears. So, what do you value? Are those values more important than your fears? For me with the zip line, I valued being true to myself and the commitment I had made to not let my fears stand in my way. And I also valued being part of the community experience and feeling a part of the team. Those values far outweighed my fears and helped push me over the hill of uncertainty into action. And the fourth step is the beginning of the action. It's creating a plan to act. First, it helps to define a time frame. When do you want to do this? Is there advantages or disadvantages to acting right now? Are there things you want or need to do to prepare for acting? Are there ways to break up what scares you into smaller action steps so that you can lessen the fear and anxiety? For me with the zip line, I realized that I had the opportunity to do this now, and I might not ever have that opportunity again. When it came to making a plan and preparing, though, I found the more I thought about it, the more my stomach knotted. In this instance, it was better to get out of my head and act rather than extensively plan and prepare. And the fifth step is following through on your plan. To do it, even though you're probably still afraid. For me with the zip line, this was putting on the harness and helmet. This was standing at the base of that ladder and starting to climb. This was repeating my mantra to myself over and over again, especially in the moments when I was most afraid and had to stop and take a deep breath. Following through on your plan having courageous action is continuing to put one foot in front of the other and move forward. It is remembering that your fears are less important than your values. When I found out that I would get to do a presentation of learning, I knew that I wanted to sing. I love singing. I've been doing it my whole life. And even so, every time I think about singing a solo in front of people that I don't know, I feel afraid. I recognize that fear. And I can identify that I'm afraid of making mistakes, looking foolish, and being judged by others. When thinking about whether or not to sing, I go back to my values. I value being true to myself and doing what I love to do. I also value the unique sharing experience that happens when I put myself out there by singing and I'm vulnerable, and others can share in that experience with me and get to know me better. Unlike my experience with the zip line, singing as a part of this presentation definitely benefited from a well-thought-out plan. Choosing appropriate music that fit the time frame and that was meaningful, and practicing a lot of times ahead of time were definitely part of that plan. And in a few moments, I will take my fifth and final step toward courageous action in the face of fear, and I will start the music and sing for all of you. As I sing this piece, Climb Every Mountain from the Sound of Music, I want you to think about your dreams. What do you desire to do even though it scares you? These dreams can be personal or professional. Maybe your dream is to start a program for a population that you see as being overlooked, but you're afraid that you won't be able to get the support you need or that it'll fail. Maybe your dream is to share your knowledge and expertise with others through a training or seminar, but you're afraid of speaking in front of people, thinking that they will judge you. Think about your dream, whatever it is, and then, as I sing, think about how you can use the 5 steps we talked about today to climb the mountains of fear that try to stand in your way and to take courageous action and move forward to make your dreams a reality.